In 1994, the scientific and religious worlds were rocked by a study published in the prestigious Journal of Statistical Science. The book of Genesis, according to the study, contained hidden names and relevant dates of men who lived thousands of years after the book was written. Soon, words and phrases relating to modern events were being discovered. Could this code reveal the future? Was the assassination of an Israeli prime minister in the late 20th century predicted over 3,000 years ago? New and startling information suggests it was. Does the code demonstrate conclusively that Jesus Christ was the true Messiah and the Jehovah of the Old Testament? Has the code predicted the outcome of thousands of years of enmity, fear, and hatred in the Middle East? Can the reality of this Bible code be demonstrated and proven in today's skeptical world? And is it possible for anyone with a modern computer to participate in what some experts have called the greatest scientific discovery of all time? The amazing and sometimes startling answers to these and many other questions are coming up. Stay with us as we explore the Bible code, the future and beyond. In 1990, the city of Tel Aviv in Israel was a city gripped by fear. The Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein had threatened to send Scud missiles into Israel in retaliation for coalition attacks on Israeli forces in Kuwait. The question was not if, but when he would launch the missiles. Even more terrifying was the specter of the unknowable. Would this madman use chemical or even biological warheads on the missiles? If the government of Israel could only know when the attack would come, they could better prepare their citizens. All they could do was tell the people to be ready for anything, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Terror of the unknown engulfed the city of Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, 3 Israeli scientists were poring over data from an amazing new discovery. They had told the government they might be able to pinpoint the exact date of the missile attack using computers and the Bible. Israeli officials were skeptical, but the conditions in Tel Aviv and other border communities were unbearable. The scientists went to work. Now they would have the opportunity to demonstrate the validity of their discovery under the most crucial circumstances. They were looking for something thought to be impossible, something specific, a date and an event still somewhere in the future. Could it be that somehow the precise date of what could be Israel's darkest hour was foreshadowed nearly 4,000 years ago in the pages of the Bible? The Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, had given the scientists 3 dates to check. The most prominent in the Bible code was the 3rd Shabbat, January 18, 1991. And on January 18, 1991, the 3rd Shabbat on the Jewish calendar, the first Scud missiles were launched from Iraq upon the citizens of Tel Aviv. The team of research scientists had pinpointed the date exactly by means of the amazing Bible code. 16 years ago, a small group of Jewish scientists and mathematicians set out to create a scientifically based computer program that would either prove or disprove the ancient Jewish tradition of hidden words or messages supposed to have been encoded within the text of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. Even the type of code was included in the tradition. Hidden words, it was said, could be found by picking a letter, skipping a specific number of letters in sequence, taking the next letter, and so on, until the coded word or message was revealed. It's a technique well known to cryptographers as equidistant letter sequence, or ELS code. And at least one Jewish scholar, a rabbi by the name of Weissmandel, demonstrated the possibility of such a code in the Torah nearly 50 years ago.
Rabbi Weissmandel, through his diligence and determination in his studies of the Torah, made some remarkable discoveries. The word Torah in Hebrew consists of 4 letters, a tau, a vav, a resh, and a he, which are equivalent for us to talk about it as if it was a T, an O, an R, and an H. We should note here that the Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 letters that are essentially consonants. Vowels are generally simply inferred. The Vav operates sort of what we would consider as an O, but it's not considered a vowel. In the book of Genesis, if you go to the first equivalent of a T and count 49 letters, and then take the next one, in other words, the 50th letter, is the equivalent of what we would consider a Vav. It's what we would consider an O. You count another 50 letters, it's a Resh, or like our R. You count another 50 letters, and you come to a Hey, or like an H. In other words, it's as if you found a T-O-R-H at 49 letter intervals. It spells the word Torah. Rather remarkable in its own right, but one of those things you could dismiss as just a happenstance. But when you get to Exodus, you discover the same thing happens. You come to a T, 49 letters plus 1, you get to the O, the R, and the H the same way. And so again, this starts to look very designed. In fact, it's rather interesting that this number 50 are the number of days from the Exodus to the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. In pursuing this further, you go to the book of Leviticus, the third book, and nothing like this happens. But you go to the fourth book of the Torah, the book of Numbers, the same thing happens, but only if you spell Torah backwards. Kind of weird. You go to the book of Deuteronomy, again you find the equivalent thing, but only if you spell it backwards. Now, you wonder, what does this mean? And you stand back from it all. It's as if those four books are pointing to the middle book, two forward, two back, to the book of Leviticus. So you examine Leviticus more carefully, and you discover not 49 letter intervals, but 7 letter intervals. You have the word Yahweh, or the name of God. And you stand back from this whole thing and you realize the Torah is always pointing to the name of God. Rabbi Weissmandel's discovery is the first modern hint of hidden codes in the Bible, and of course has led to using computer to find others. Professor Daniel Michelson at UCLA has estimated that the probability of Weissmandel's discovery happening by accident is less than 1 in 3 million.
There are 304,805 Hebrew letters in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. Once again, Jewish tradition holds that each of these letters was dictated by God to Moses in precise sequence, without spaces or punctuation. And while it cannot be categorically stated that every letter in the scrolls in use today is the same as those Moses transcribed, as a practical matter of human history, few things have been so carefully guarded or so lovingly and meticulously maintained as the integrity of the Torah scrolls.
Bible scholars have long been aware that over the millennia, the Torah has been preserved with an amazingly small number of letter-level variations. Even to this very day, a Torah scroll is copied by hand from its predecessor, written out according to unchanging rules by scribes who undergo an exacting course of training and preparation. To each of them, the following warning has been passed down through the ages. Should you perchance omit or add one single letter from the Torah, you would thereby destroy all the universe.
These were the parameters within which Dr. Eliyahu Rips, a world-renowned mathematician, began to structure his experiment. He enlisted the aid of a brilliant graduate student working in the field of general relativity, Doran Whitstone, and a computer scientist, Dr. Yoav Rosenberg. Together, they formed the original code research team. Their first study, known as the Great Rabbi's Experiment, had been limited to the 78,000 plus letters in the book of Genesis only, and had uncovered the names and the associated birth or death date of 34 of the most famous sages in Jewish history. The mathematical probability of such a thing occurring by chance was so small it astonished even the researchers. Using a text which, according to Jewish belief, was literally dictated letter by letter to Moses, 3 men with undisputed scientific credentials had apparently proved mathematically that a basic ELS code did in fact exist in the Hebrew text of the book of Genesis. The study was sent to the prestigious American mathematics journal Statistical Science for peer review.